It's another bright evening that we want to discuss and focus on our. Can you hear me, Professor?
Yes, I can hear you very well.
Thank you so much. So it's another wonderful evening. It's another wonderful bright. I mean, let me say, yeah, it's an evening. For us, it's afternoon. So we are really looking forward to have a wonderful discussion with Professor Macharia Munene, Professor Peter Ndiangui on KDRTV. And today's focus is basically what we have, or the topic we have, will President Ruto and Raila Odinga's handshake last till 2027? So we are really having an in-depth political analysis of the broad-based Kenyan government. So welcome, gentlemen, and let's start the discussion. So the first question goes to Professor Macharia Munene. Is this a handshake? Is it a broad-based government? What we really have between the pact between President William Ruto and Raila Odinga?
Well, it's just a handshake, another of the series of handshakes that Raila Odinga is able to get, to reach after losing elections. He has the ability to make the country ungovernable, thereby forcing the winner to turn to him for help so that to appear to be peaceful. So this is the fourth handshake from the other presidents. It is an admission on the part of William Ruto that he has failed to govern, that he is not able to deliver. And because of that, he needs help. And he thinks the help he can get is from Raila Odinga, who has made it very clear why he wants to help Ruto. It's because he doesn't want to imagine somebody like Gachagua becoming president, or even Kindiki. So he says he had to go out and reach out to Raila, and Raila does not want to hear any other person but Ruto. So they have something in common in this thing. But it is an admission on the part of Ruto that he is not able to govern as he should.
Okay. Thank you so much. So, Professor Ndiangui, what's your perspective also?
Oh yes, I totally agree with my brother Professor Macharia Munene. It's always an honor to be with him. Mm-hmm. A handshake is a handshake is a handshake. Mm-hmm. There's nothing else. Mm-hmm. Let's not stop playing games. Oh, this is that. As Professor Macharia Munene has said, historically, Raila is the master of handshakes. He had a handshake with Moi, he had a handshake with Uhuru, he had a handshake with Kibaki and Sumukate, he had a handshake with Uhuru Kenyatta, and again now he has a handshake with William Ruto. This is a very interesting one compared to the others. The question is whether it will last, and I'm sure that we will delve in greater detail. But it is coming also at a time when Raila is also aging, and there are many other factors that go into it. And of course, let me just start by pointing out clearly that this was one I am convinced that it has no basis, it will not take off. But I'll try to explain a little bit more. That's my perspective. And I want to start by saying again, thank you for inviting me to discuss this handshake. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor Ndiangui. So, Professor Macharia Munene, yeah, we understand what Raila, or most of Kenyans really are trying to interpret Raila Odinga. Can we really interpret Raila Odinga, or is really having some cards under the table? Sometimes he just releases one by one and puts them on the table. So do we really understand Raila Odinga and his political overtures? So what do you think about the current handshake with Ruto?
Well, for Raila, who is master of political manipulation, he sees a political potential, should Ruto falter, and he has to get out of the way. Raila would like to be the one to step in, and not anybody else. So there is that element. But at the same time, Raila is also very concerned about his reputation, which has been tattered. This handshake has really messed him up, because he goes to some place, instead of being cheered and praised, people walk away, or they don't say very nice things about him. even to the extent of calling him a traitor. So one of the other days he was forced to come out and say he's not a Msaliti because that's the image that he has portrayed himself. Having previously said how he was going to have nothing to do with Ruto, and he had they said that Ruto must go, and now he's running around saying no, Ruto must stay because we don't want somebody else to be there. And in essence, saying that Ruto is better than anybody else, apart from himself, of course. So he's caught in between. He doesn't know whether to be fully with Ruto or fully with the people. And being caught in between, it does not look very good in this. And you look at his own party, it's divided. There are those people who think that he has betrayed them as a party, and there are those who are very happy they say they are eating. And like those who have been appointed ministers or other things, high offices, they are eating, and when they are eating, they don't want to be disturbed by being asked questions, what's going on in the country. So Raila is caught in between, and it depends on the way things are going to go. If they go that increasingly against the Ruto way, he is likely to jump ship and be seen to be with the people. And increasingly, he is known to be making statements that are supposed to be pleasing to the public about how rough things are, while still being with Ruto.
Thank you very much, Professor Macharia. So what's your take on that, Professor Diangui?
Yes, again, I am forced to agree with my brother Macharia Munene, because first and foremost, let us explore why any relationship can survive. There are few important ingredients. One is trust. Second one is honesty. And the third one is have resolved some historical differences. It is clear to everybody. It doesn't take a lot of knowledge to know that there is no trust between Raila and Ruto. Both of them are extremely greedy people. They want the power, and I don't think any one of them will allow the other unless they feel that that will benefit them. It's not 2 years ago when they were fighting each other. We have moved on, and now they have turned over. Raila has become a disappointment, because Raila was our symbol of the opposition, was the symbol of the development of the country. But with all these hardships we have realized, it looks like the man was just about himself. I want us to remember that this hardship came just after he failed the AU elections, chairmanship elections. But there is no trust between him and Ruto at all. Two, they have very serious unresolved differences. Let me just mention one. One of the key supporters of Raila is SK Macharia. SK Macharia just today, I think it's in the papers today, he's just talking about how the elections were rigged in favor of Ruto against who? Raila. So if that mindset is still there, that Raila's camp still believes that Ruto is there illegitimately and they are the true leaders, they'll be there to try and gain what they think is theirs. Again, think about the little spirit. Just now, remember, this is only about a week old. What did Raila say? Raila said, in June, when the Gen Z was demonstrating and they went to parliament, or people went to parliament, I saved Ruto from the army coup, an armed coup. And Raila was involved in one coup in 1982, you know that. So now, he says, you'll be telling Ruto, my brother, Ruto, now I am the one who saved you. I'm the one who put you in power. The power is mine. These are very greedy people. And there is no way they are going to let go of the power. And because of that crave for hunger of power, this marriage cannot trust. The divorce is coming sooner than you think. And as Professor Macharia Munene says, several of his people, of Raila's people, are not with him. We don't see a future. So if Raila cannot be able to con people the way he has done it over the years and go with the people he had in ODM, How does he expect this to survive? Because remember, it can only survive if he thinks it's going to benefit. But he's not going to. Neither is Ruto going to benefit because both of them want power. Who is going to give way to the other one? You think Ruto can allow Raila to take over? Or do you think Raila will be there just telling Ruto like his spanner boy? No way. That is what it's my assumption. I don't think this kind of thing can survive. I have a few more points, my brother. Let me stop there for now.
Thank you so much, Professor Ndiangui. Now, let's deeply look into the real pact. What they are basically telling us that they have got 10-point agenda. And I heard today, Senator Sifuna in a funeral in, I think, either in Kajiado, not in Narok. I'm not pretty sure which one. And he specifically said that the pact which they had with Ruto is point blank. I mean, it's straightforward. There is nothing like a handshake. It's basically something they really wanted the government to, ensure that whatever they wrote down is really actualized. One of it was that the Gen Zs who are killed, they need to be compensated. I mean, their relatives need to be compensated. And then the other one is to stop abduction and all that. You know, you've had one of the cabinet secretaries, Mr. Justin Muturi, really even refused to attend the cabinet meeting because he's still protesting and saying we need all the kids or the children who are abducted to be released before even I attend the cabinet meeting. So are they really going to actualize all these things, or this would just be a political ploy till 2027, Professor Machari?
Well, the 10 points, there's nothing new there. Because those things did not need Raila and Ruto to sit down and say we agree on the following. Those issues were already there and people were demanding accountability. And part of the Gen Z uprising was accountability. Now, Senator Sifuna has been one of the critics of ODM within ODM. One may say that because he's been very vocal, but yet he still has to appear to be loyal to his boss. So, but the main point about this signing ceremony is to create a position for Raila Odinga. And you notice it is among the top, create a position for Raila Odinga. The rest are issues to hoodwink people with. If a position can be created of an executive prime minister, which might require a referendum, and right now we do not have an IBC to conduct any referendum of such things. Or the alternative would be to persuade Musalia Mudavadi to step aside so that Raila can be appointed chief cabinet secretary, something like that. I think there was even an idea that he might be persuaded, and he was not amused from what we hear. So, short of Musalia Mudavadi stepping aside for him, then the question of a constitutional amendment to create positions that do not exist. And actually, the position of prime minister, when the constitution was being made in 2010, the issue came up. But some of the people who opposed it, and I think Raila is one of those who opposed the position at the time, because it looked as if the constitution was being made for him and he was simply going to walk into the presidency after Kibaki. That was the impression that was created. So he had no time for having power shared with somebody else in that. Since he lost the election in 2013, 2017, and 2022, the question that comes up and repeatedly, what do you do so that the loser does not lose everything? So create a special position for him. They say either create an acknowledged official leader of the opposition who is not in parliament or maybe is not elected to parliament as a position to make him feel good. which is counterproductive in itself, in the sense that when you start creating positions for individuals within the constitution, it's terrible. Because when those people are not there, then what happens? And we have seen constitution being murdered left and right. It can be removed. Um, when the constitution was present, created an elected deputy president, the purpose was to stop Daniel Arab Moi from firing vice presidents on the streets and then appointing new ones as he wished. That was the idea. But we've seen that even that one is not secure because President Ruto said he didn't want Gachagua anymore. So just mobilize some forces and the man was out. So even the constitutional provisions can be sidetracked. And the attempt to create a position for Raila Odinga, it's bad because it's just for him. It also shows him to be a very green. He was not satisfied with what he got. After all, the constitution is his creation, together with Kibaki. And now to be told that no, let's change here, so that he can find a place, is kind of short-sighted and defeatist in principle. So the 10 points, the main purpose is to create a position for Raila, not all those other things. You don't need special agreement to stop overtaxing people. You don't need special agreement to get people who are responsible for offenses dealt with properly. So that's my view.
Thank you so much, Professor. Let's now delve deep again into the way the president is being received across the country. It's really very unfortunate to see youth booing the president, calling him some of the names we cannot even manage even to say on TV, on a live television. So is really that's why we are really having this hard question: will this handshake really last till 2027? Because from the way the president is being received, from the way people are really making a lot of noise out here, especially with Raila's handshake, or Raila is every day is really struggling to explain to the citizen, to the common man, why whether he went to Ruto or Ruto came to him. So Raila is trying to say, oh no, Ruto came to me. I didn't actually go to him. So he came for me to help him. And today again, he really gave, I think it's yesterday or 2 days ago, he gave an explicit explanation as to why he had to bring Ruto into the picture. Because you see, Ruto was almost being deposed or overthrown by the Kenyan army. So he said, for me, what I basically went in there to save Ruto, because if the military leaves the barracks, they don't actually go back to the barracks. That's what that part of the explanation is doing. So, Professor Ndiangui, can that really is that really something which can
and
sinking well down with the Kenyans? Yep.
Yes. The question you're listening there, Engineer Kebwato, is this:
yes,
can this marriage between Raila and Ruto survive without the people? Because they have lost the people. Even that Sifuna, let's even talk about Sifuna. When Ruto was going around Nairobi, Sifuna refused to go. And when he was told, hey, you should have been with the president, what did he say? He said, oh no, the MOU did not have me walking around after the president. Even the leaders of ODM, and some of the ODM, remember UDA, they're not with it. So can Raila really survive in this environment at his 80 years old, after always he thrived on people who are supporting him for his opposition to corruption and greed? The answer is no. He cannot. And that's why we are convinced this cannot survive. Number two, yes, Professor Machadia explains it very well. We didn't need anything in writing, any MOU to say, oh, fight against corruption, or stop abductions, or stop taxing people, or youth employment. These are things that are straightforward. But there's something very important to point out here. Number one, the very first point of the full implementation of the National Dialogue Committee, the NADCO report, which also had specified the position of the Prime Minister. Ruto historically has been known since 2010 or even before. He was not in respect of the Constitution. And we know it, even in swearing in. He has never fully shown up respect of the Constitution, even when he swears to support it. So what did he do on March 7, 2025? Long before anything happens, he started calling Raila Prime Minister Raila, not former Prime Minister. He had already created a position for him even before it go through the process, like Professor Macharia pointed out. There's a process that can be done. To Ruto and to Raila, there's already a Prime Minister Raila. So they don't have respect for the Constitution at all, or for that process Professor Macharia talked about. Remember, these are people who are still in a lot of anger against one another. It's very important to understand. They don't have trust. They just a marriage that is there for some convenience. I don't know for what, because it's not going to be convenient for them. The ODM people are mad about this nonsense, the majority of them. There's still a group that say we still support Baba, but he has let them down. Ruto, on the other hand, is removing some of the ministers which are in UDA to accommodate the ODM. You think these people are going to be happy? Let's take that example Professor Macharia talked about. Remove Musalia Mudavadi. What's going to happen? Remove Wetangula from Speaker or others, because we have to accommodate. We have to have some new people. I know they're going to remove those people of Gachagua, the ones that they are said were seated with Gachagua, but then for each person you remove, you lose a lot of other people who follow that person. This marriage, which was meant to be for convenience, and the things they wrote down, right to peaceful assembly, that's number 6. Economic investment for the youth. All this is nonsense. Stop wastage, stop corruption. They're the masters of corruption. So we must understand that this is a system, a marriage that cannot survive without people's support, and there is no support. You are so right, engineer. Ruto even stopped. Remember what is happening after in Nairobi? It was very interesting. After Ruto finishes his meeting, what happens? People start stealing, pickpocketing each other, because they don't respect the system. They don't have. There's nothing worse than having a president we don't respect, who does not have respect of the people, and he does not. And Raila now also has lost the respect of the ODM. Are they going to have a leadership of just the two of them? No. Time will tell. It's only 1 week, not more. But there's a lot that has happened which points clearly that this is a relationship that's out for divorce, very fast divorce. We better start getting ready. The only thing I wanted to say here is this. The opposition will build itself very nicely, and you can talk about that a little bit later on. Maybe they might try to team up, but it's a bit too late, because they don't have respect for one another.
Thank you so much, Professor Ndiangui. Now let's at least we focus on the ground now. Let's now shift our focus again to the ground. From the Luo land perspective, from the Kisii land perspective, some people still feel that, I mean, it's 50-50. Some people feel, okay, we should welcome Ruto. Some, no, people are not really realistic. I mean, on the ground, they are still having so many doubts and peculiar reasons. I mean, reasoning situation right now. Even in the Luo land, they are saying, because they have been given the money is actually, let me just put it in a simpler term, the way they put it in the local language. They say money is sleeping in Homa Bay. Is really money sleeping in Homa Bay, and is this really money there? Because Mbadi is telling people now that we have this particular position because remember in 1963 or 1960. When Kenya got our independence, or before the Britons actually gave Kenya full independence, Kenyatta was still in prison. But Jaramogi Oginga Odinga was given the mantle to lead Kenya, but he said no. Before that, we have to ensure that our leader, who is Kenyatta, has to be released from prison or from detention for him to come and lead us. So I'm not going to take that position before Kenyatta is released. Now, what Mbadi is basically telling the people on the ground is that he doesn't actually want to make that huge mistake of leaving, of not accepting the position of the finance cabinet minister. So he's actually taking it. So is that position really something which can lure the Luo community or make Kenyans believe that Ruto is now becoming a good friend? Because earlier on, what Mbadi was really saying or telling people about Ruto is completely, it was unheard of. What he was telling people is really completely different from what he's talking today. So, Professor Mong'are Munene, do you think only the cabinet positions which Raila has had in his backyard is a sure bet that if he decides to support Ruto in 2027, is going back to be to serve in the second term?
No, it's not a sure bet. To start with, Raila's support among the Luos is dwindling. He still has a big support, there is no question about it. But it is not what it was before, because they are also asking a lot of questions about this. And the last election in 2022, part of the reason Raila lost is because he behaved as if he wanted to lose, because his supporters did not go out to vote. And then had they voted, the margin was so small, they probably would have jumped over the other side. But they started celebrating before there was, the votes were cast, or they had cast their votes. So the fact that Bandi, who described Ruto's cabinet as a skunk, and now he's given a position and he joins the skunk, it's an interesting, because he's eating properly. He and a few people are around him. Those are eating. And the question is whether the entire community is eating, just because ministers are eating. And that's always a question everywhere. So would that sway all the Luos to join Ruto? It's very doubtful whether that will work, because there are a lot of critical minds that are raising fundamental questions about what is going on. And as it appears as if the country is going down the drain, there are many people who don't want to be part of that drainage as it grows. And so the Raila simply saying you have to be with Ruto in 2027 will not make it so. And of course, there is a question of, since the two men, Ruto and Raila, appears if they are suspicious of each other. And the question is, who will dump the other before the other? And it looks as if Raila will ditch Ruto before too long, so that he can be seen to be with the people.
Thank you so much, Professor. So they are basically, they are completely very suspicious. And that is those are some of the sentiments we are hearing from Professor Peter Ndiangui. And now let's focus now on the friends to President Ruto before Raila came in. Let's look at Musalia Mudavadi. Let's look at Moses Wetangula. Two of these luminaries missed the signing or the pact. Why were they missing? And what do you really see as let me put it in a simpler perspective or in a simpler English. Why do you think that these people are not really welcoming Raila into the fold? Are they fearful of Raila, or what is really happening? Professor Peter Ndiangui.
Thank you for that question. It was very interesting to see them missing in the whole meeting. And this is very telling. This is a man for himself and God for us all. Because Musalia Mudavadi and Wetangula realized that the coming in of Raila and his people puts them at risk. They become the losers. Chances are very high that even if they are not removed, the people that Raila is going to bring to Ruto to be part of the government will not be in favor of Wetangula and the Musalia Mudavadi and the others. So there is no way that Musalia Mudavadi and Wetangula and the other people who are very strong in UDA would be supporting that. Let me also say something else. Remember, I know we all said, Gachagua, we did not have this, the country being divided. There were promises made. There were promises made to Wetangula, to Mudavadi, to the other people. If you vote for us, you'll get it. That's how they brought in the Ruya group and all the other groups, even the Kikuyu, Mount Kenya. We'll talk about that in a minute. So now those promises cannot be kept because remember, ODA was not part of the promises. ODM was part of the opposition. So now we are bringing ODM. In other words, they have to take some seats from somebody else who had promised that. And I'm telling you, there will be a very shaky UDA. Why are you giving this away? We voted against these people. Now they have become our leaders. And that is going to go on like that. The other thing I wanted to say is this. At the top, when you talk about that government of national unity, is there really going to be unity? Is there going to be? And Professor Macharia pointed it out clearly about the tribal aspect. Yes, Baba has had a very big following, and I want to be very clear here, not just from the rules, but he built some other people all over the country. The best thing that happened in the Gen Z revolution, the movement, was that we are dismantling the biggest thing that these people use to weaken the country, their tribes. They start hiding under that. In Gen Z movement, we all went out, we are all Kenyans. And this is very important. Even I would like to tell Gachagua, stop just talking about Mulima or anybody else. This is Kenya. We are all suffering together. And so if Raila's handshake with Ruto is not good for the person in Kiambu, it's also not good for the person in Siaya or in Homa Bay or anywhere else. We are all victims of this kind of nonsense. So we are going to weaken that, and I think that the way it is going, to see each other as members of one country and to belong to that country at the same time try to see what is good. I think at the end of it all, if there's anything good that came out of this, if we weaken those kind of tribal alliances, if they're going to be weakened and we become one country and maybe hopefully a genuine leader emerges, not necessarily based on the tribe he is coming from, but who he is, and that's what we learned from the Gen Z much more, we probably can have just a leader for all of us that will be good. Yes, Professor Mashari, the tribal factor is still there. The rules still, many people still support him, but that is winning, and that's the way it should be. That we can support Baba if we like him, not because he's a particular tribe or any other person for that matter. We can say no to him, and that's what we are saying, not just because he's a Luo or anything, but because he is not leading us in the right direction. And it's about time he woke up. This is wrong direction, Baba. I'm telling you, I wish you can hear this. It's wrong. You've been a respectable man. All at once, you destroyed the opposition. You destroyed everything. And now, where are you taking the country? You never stood up when abductions were being made. Now you're telling us with the MOU signing, that's when you're going to start up? Where were you in June? Just because now you have signed some document, all at once, the youth are going to get employment? No, Baba. Wake up, man. This man is a liar. He's leading you to the drain. Get out of it. Professor Machari, you are right. Baba will get out faster than he thinks. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor. Now, let's now talk about the the purge in Parliament. It's perceived that all the UDA party has decided to purge or to kick out from, we call them lucrative committee positions in Parliament. And one of the wonderful young man or MP called Ndindi Nyoro Vukiharu, who has really done some substantial job in ensuring that schools in this area, basically focused on schools first, are really doing so well. He has really done a wonderful job in his constituency, putting, do I call it cabros, putting wonderful tiles on the floors of classrooms. But now is now being purged. I mean, it's also is now being thrown away, and now both ODM or the opposition, I don't know whether we call it opposition, and the government led by Chungwa and Junet Mohammed were really telling Kenyans that he stole money from the public, or not really from the public account company, but he allocated himself more money than any other constituency in Kenya. Professor Mong'are Munene, is it true, or these people are just leading us into a charade we don't really even understand about?
Well, it's politics as usual. Mm-hmm. And there's nothing strange about what Junaid Mohammed said or Ishongwa says. They are kind of the official attack dogs, depending on which side. Now, Dede Nyoro appears to be in trouble with Ruto. He was never liked by Raila anyway, but to be trouble with Ruto. For one, he seemed to stay out of the impeachment saga for Gachagua, and that in itself did not please some forces. He should have been there together with Ishongwa and singing the impeachment praise songs. He did not. He seemed to avoid taking sides on that matter, and to concentrate on his constituency in Kiharu, where he has done very well, as you point out. The children in secondary schools in Kiharu, they have their school fees remitted, and they pay just a small amount for lunch and all those kind of things. The fact that he's able to organize that with the CDF money is something that bothers some other people. How come he's doing and they are not doing, and they get the same amount of money? So the answer to both Ishongwa and Junaid Mohammed came even from the other MPs who said they stop that nonsense. The budget committee of which Dede was chairing is the one that passes everything, and they raise issues there if there are some unfairness in that regard. So it was just a political gimmick, which did not go very well. It was because it did not resonate with the public. The attempt to besmirch Dede and point him in a negative way, I think, did not go well. It backfired almost, for they were being seen to be not just sycophants, but people without direction. Kimani Ishongwa himself is very unpopular in his constituency in Kikuyu, and Junaid Mohammed, well, he's on record of having declared himself to be a cow. Whatever Raila wants, you behave like a cow. That's what he said some times ago. So there is they are just playing politics as usual. They could look for something better to say or do if they are going to question Dede Nyoro's credibility. They did not come out very well. So Dede is still very popular in Kiharu and the Muranga in general, and that kind of attack did not go far. Maybe they will look for better ways of attacking, discrediting him, and that sort of thing.
Thank you so much, Professor. Now let's again focus again on what Professor Peter Ndiangui at least mentioned a little bit earlier about the Deputy President Gachagua. Is he on the overdrive? Because any day he grabs a microphone, he really hammers Ruto so much. So is this? Did Ruto underestimate Gachagua, or what really is happening here? All the days Gachagua grabs a microphone, it's as if he has news. Some new information about Ruto, which is just giving out as some dose. Like a medicine. What is really happening, Professor Ndiangui?
Yes, that's good. But before I even get to Gachagua, let me also support the issue of Dede Nyoro.
Yes.
Actually, those people opposing Dede Nyoro probably are making him stronger, because what they are saying is Dede Nyoro spent money on Kiharu constituency. That's what he's meant to do. Then we look at the statistics, the amount of money Dede Nyoro was given compared to other constituencies, it was not more than any other constituency. Other constituencies, there was no allocation. Because it doesn't matter what Kimani Ichung'wah or Junaid Mohammed Junaid says. we can see those numbers. Those numbers are available in the public domain. We can see them. So when they lie like Didi Nyoro, misappropriated any money, they're actually making him stronger because we can see the money was given and we can see what he did with it. The question is, what are you doing with the money you're given in your constituency, the other members? And that is making him stronger. But back to former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua from Nyeri. Now, it's important. His role is, whether he's impeached at the end of the day or not, his role is very, very important in giving us the truth. He tells us he's a truthful man. And we need to believe him. He's a truth. So every time he should give us a dose of that truth. There's some truth I need from Rigathi Gachagua. And SK talked about it today. What happened in the elections? Were they stood for you when he was there? When he was there. Remember, he's a truthful man. Gachagua is a truthful man. I hope to believe him. We want to know the truth of what happened as far as he knows it. We need to know that, Bwana Gachagua. Yes, we need. Give us the truth. What have you guys been doing? So these doses of this is what we did is very important. And actually, the good thing, back to the title here of this topic, they will weaken this marriage between Raila and Ruto because we are getting to know the corruption that's going on. He is a victim also of when Raila started coming in. I think Raila did not feel good about having Gachagua there because Gachagua talks a lot more. It's nice, but I think at the end of it, Gachagua's role of telling us he has to also, and I need to tell him this. There's some things he should leave it to us to talk about. Like when he was talking about when Baba was going for, he's the best position for AU chairmanship. You know the man is over 80 years old, Gachagua. Stop talking. Leave that to your little people. When he's talking about Chapukati, he was talking about so many places, which is okay because a man is dead. You cannot say something negative, but let other people talk, man. So there are things he needs to tell us. And he needs to remain like a strong man. It's nice to have him there. He knows a lot. And if you want to know what goes on in Ruto's kitchen, we need Ligiji so that we can have proper weapons to remove this very corrupt system. But Ligiji also, be careful what you're telling us, my friend. Be careful. Tell us the truth. There are things we need to hear from you because you know it. You're probably the best position. You are doing it together. Like we said, the position of the deputy president and the president were merged together, so they know too much together. Keep telling us, Mr. Ligiji. Your wife was here in America and she said high things about how great you are. We love you too, Mr. Ligiji. But tell us more truth. What happened in Bomas of Kenya that day? We need to hear that. Yes.
That's a very serious. That's a punch to the gut.
He knows. Yes.
Yes, Professor Macharia. Is Mulima gone completely for Ruto? Is Mulima gone completely, or there are still some patches of Mulima which Ruto can put together and help him win the 2027 election?
Well, he's trying and he will try, but the Mulima is not available. The point is that the people of the Murima, once they decide, they decide. Part of the reason they voted for him in 2022 was because they had decided against Uhuru Kenyatta. The reasons why they decided against Uhuru Kenyatta is another matter that we discussed. But they had made up their mind more than a year before that they have had it with Uhuru. And Ruto was very smart in exploiting that feeling of unhappiness. And it worked because it was the alternative. So now within the 2 years, he's managed to alienate the people who voted for him with a very good heart. He's managed to alienate. So trying to get play games and say that he can, after all, he does not need the Murima because he can get the lake. Once he has the lake, everything is okay. So he thinks. Then the Western and all those and the coast and everything. It is his right to be wrong. because he can do that. But the question as to whether the Mlima is gone, for all practical purposes, it's gone.
It's gone.
And it's very difficult to
To
get it back
Ah.
because of the loss of trust. Because once people lose trust, then winning them back is a hard task. And we wonder whether Ruto is capable of that.
Wow. That is a very serious one from you, Professor Mong'are, to say Mlima is gone and gone completely. Now, you know, people from the lake side now are accusing the Mlima people that the only unfortunate fact is that they want Raila to fight for them while in opposition, but when Raila wants them, they are not ready to support him. So how is this conundrum going to be solved or be sorted out, Professor Ndiangui?
Yes, this is very interesting.
Yes.
Let's get this right. I agree. Professor Macharia, it's gone. Mlima is gone.
Yes.
But that's probably even what Ruto wanted, because if you create a situation like, what is it, 42 versus 1 against 1, you know, because that has been brought, he would like that if everybody else. And they would like to keep on playing that card. But what I have said this, and I'll say it again, what GNC revealed to us is that we must stop playing this game of tribes. That no matter what, let's say, Raila says, every Luo must follow him. No. Many Luos have woken up. The same thing as the people in the Mlima woke up against Uhuru Kenyatta. And Raila, let me tell Raila now again, stop it. It has nothing to do with the Luo people. Luo people are victims of what has gone on, just like the Kikuyus and the Karajins too. We are all victims together. You can't be playing that game, oh, we only want a Luo to support when there's a Kikuyu, somebody. No. We are all victims together. And I think the country is maturing to see even what happened with the election of Ruto against Uhuru in Mount Kenya region. We are waking up. We are all Kenyans, my friends. We are all together in this. We are all victims of a bad governance, and we all benefit from a good governance. It's not, people are not opposed to Raila because he is a Luo. The Luos and the Gurus and the Kalajis, the people are together. We are against the corruption. We are against the abductions. We are against the unemployment of our youth. We are against the high taxes. We are against the things that are plaguing our country. And you cannot Raila team up with Ruto, who is doing the abductions, who is having so much corruption, who is having all those things, and then come to tell us, oh, it's against the Luos. No, the Luos are victims of your nonsense too. Wake up. Because at this time, the country is going to be one against. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. There are only two tribes to me. People who are just harassing others and people who are being harassed. And we are all together victims of a bad governance. Yes, if we are doing what Didi Nyoro is doing in our constituencies, in Bodo, in Gatundu, in wherever, in Wasinigishu, anywhere, life would be much better. Let us not try to hide other tribes. Sometimes you are the one who is wrong alone. And the Luos and the Kikuyus and the Karajins and the Turkanas and everybody else, we are teamed together because we are victims of a very, very bad environment in the governance. Look at those people, man. It's terrible.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Professor Ndiangui. So, Professor Mong'are, we also want to hear your perspective. I would love also to hear your perspective on the same question which I asked Professor Ndiangui, that the Mlima people, I mean, this is an accusation which is coming from the lakeside, saying that the Mlima people would love Raila to be in the opposition in perpetuity, rather than also support him, because when he wants their support, they are not there. But from the last election, we saw that the Mlima people gave him 1 million. So is it still a good chance for Raila to get support from the Mlima people if he decides to run in 2027, or is not also liked by the Mlima people? That is what that's most of the questions people from the lakeside are basically asking. So what about it, Professor Mong'are?
roughly 1 million Mrima people gave him some votes.
Yes.
Not all of the votes,
Yes.
because most of the others went
Yes.
to Ruto.
Yes.
But the problem is not even the Mrima. The problem is Raila himself. Because if 300,000 or 400,000 people, his people, so to speak, from the lakes, did not start celebrating before they voted, and they did not vote, he would have won that election, because he officially lost by only 200,000 votes. And there were other factors that explained his loss. Bad running of the campaign, not having the agents where they are supposed to be, and not listening very well to strategies, winning strategies, things like that. So his loss to Ruto was not because the Mrima people did not vote for him. It was because his own people did not vote for him, as they should have. It was because his organization was confused, and people could tell there is something going wrong. In fact, he did very well. He lost by only 200,000 votes, which he should not have, because the election was his to lose, and he lost. Yeah? So it's not so much that Ruto won, it's that Raila lost. Now, as to whether when he runs again, the Mrima will give him vote, he'll still get some vote. Even
Some.
his father used to get some votes.
Some.
No, so,
Why can't he get all, Professor?
Yeah.
Why can't he get all? Why some?
Well, nobody gets everything.
Ruto almost got
The
everything.
question
Huh?
is the magnitude of the sum. Eh?
Yes. I got that. Yes.
It could be.
Yes.
He should get some votes,
Yes.
but not. Well, right now he's not painting himself as a very good man. This wishy-washing, getting into bed, the bedroom, Ruto's bedroom, and then jumping on the other side and wanting to be seen to be a spokesman for the people. And so, he's kind of the thing he used to call Kalonzo about watermelon behavior. Can't tell which side he is. Is he with Ruto or is he with the people? That's what is eating him now. And that's why ODM itself is divided. Because you have all these people who are saying, wait a minute, this is not the Raila we know, or we thought we knew. And then earlier had asked about Musalia, Mudavadi, and Wetangula. Well, these people, they have been banned not once. Remember they were together in 2012 and
Yes.
2017?
Yes.
And at one time they were told to wait in a hotel,
Yeah.
to wait for a telephone call from Nigeria,
Yes.
as the man was swearing himself in somewhere else. And they were not amused by that kind of thing. So there are those
Yes.
factors that one needs to consider. He will get some votes,
Okay.
but not as much as he would like.
Okay. So if he drops Ruto today, the Mrima people will definitely embrace him, or what do you think, Professor Ndiambo?
Yes, I actually want to add that point.
Yes, go ahead.
If Raila came in as Laila, you'd get a lot of votes, because people in Murima, remember 2 years ago, were told by Uhuru Kenyatta they will cry if they don't vote for Raila. And now they are crying. So they just need Uhuru to remember what Uhuru said. This would have been a better man. But now, Laila is coming with a baggage, which we don't want. So a Laila vote can be more, but a Laila Ruto vote is gone. Once he ties himself to Ruto, then the vote is gone. And it's very important to understand. It's not too long ago. We're talking about 2 years ago. When all they tore each other apart, all at once now, they are telling us they are together, they're in the same bedroom. These are people with unresolved historical differences, we know it. They told us everything about each other, how bad each other is. Now you come and say, oh, my brother. And of course, Ruto, we know him as Mwadhan Yarogo Osho, like, hallelujah, hallelujah. Now we know he's out. There's no more Mwadhan Yarogo.
Yes.
How do we vote for you? You lie to us. You
Sure,
liar. So
sure.
when Raila goes on to team up with this liar, and sure enough, I'm not trying to insult President Ruto. I'm just saying facts are facts. He's been lying throughout. We cannot, I don't think Mulima would support him. And most of the country would say, no, we don't want this man. He's part of, the baggage is terrible. What he's bringing to us is horrible. It's what we don't want. You know, it's like somebody who you want him, but he's coming with Murphy, Murphy, you know, which is smelling. Now you may want him, but you cannot still want the smell of the Murphy there. That's what he's bringing to us, and that's terrible. We don't
Wow.
want him.
That
Yes.
is very serious, Professor Ndiangui, on a live TV. You are becoming, I mean, you are opening the full throttle, but let me just forgive you for that. For today.
By the way, I didn't call anybody Murphy, but I'm just giving another scenario where somebody might be bringing something you don't want to smell.
Sure,
You know?
sure.
Yes,
That
yes.
is
I
it.
want to be careful there. Yes.
Thank you so much. So, Professor Macharia, where is Kalonzo? And what's happening?
Well, Kalonzo is trying very hard to be the acceptable force, the alternative to Ruto. His major problem is that he appears to be very weak, and he does not appear to be very forceful as an alternative. Maybe he's too nice, and there is something about politics that requires some aspect of being tough and that someone who can stand up to issues and be his own man and be frank. So he stands a very good chance right now of rallying the forces, and but it will take time for him.
Okay.
If the elections were held today, he would stand a very good chance, but he has not been able to mobilize all the opposition forces to his side, although he's trying.
Thank you.
And instead of we are getting new forces coming up and say
Okay.
they are different.
Thank you so
And
much.
some of them look very
Very,
influential.
okay. Thank you so much. So, thank you for that perspective, Professor. What about now? We have a new kid in town called Dr. Matiang'i. And the Murima people, it seems like the Murima people are embracing him. Where is he, Professor Macharia? Where is he? I mean, before Professor Ndiangui comes in, how does he have chances, Dr. Matiang'i? Does he have chances? Because it's as if the Murima people are embracing him. Does he have chances?
Well, Matiang'i has charisma. That's quite in order. And does he have more chance than Kalonzo? Well, it's doubtful. But he appears to be more forceful than Kalonzo in that regard. What we have is Jeremiah Kioni is the one saying that he's the Jubilee candidate. That does not mean that he's the candidate for the Murima, but he is the Jubilee candidate. And Jubilee is said to be the party of Uhuru. But then you have these others, who Martha is not part of it. And she has a little following here and there. And of course, there are also other minor candidates like Jimmy Wanjiri and Gachagua. You know, he's a force to reckon with. So, but Matiang'i is very attractive because he has charisma. Beyond that, it's hard to say.
Go ahead, Professor Ndiangui.
Yes. I think the question you are raising, Engineer Kebwato, is which way forward now. So let's leave Raila and Ruto for a while.
Yes.
Which way forward?
Yes.
There's something nice cropping up with the opposition. There are a number of very interesting people, and I'm going to mention their names just now, who are emerging in a nice way. And of course, the first of is Fred Matiang'i. He's good. He talks well, he has charisma, he has been in the government, he has the experience, he is a strong candidate. He's new to the presidential race. There are others like Sifuna, who is playing this game, but we see he is not really in that marriage of Ruto and Raila. He is probably coming up this other way. There is, of course, the traditional fighters there, Wangari, Madakarwa that is, Kalonzo, and of course, Rigathi Gachagua was there. Now, you see, those five people, and of course, Jimmy Wajigi is coming into the picture, but there might be others coming up. So let the game play out a little bit, and you can see they are very well spread out. They are not one tribe against another. We see them being spread out very nicely. And I do hope in the process of that playing out, we'll come up with only one. Because war and wit, if all of them went there tearing each other apart, chances are very high that they would strengthen the team of the marriage of Ruto and Laila. But I think the good thing is, these people are playing out, they are speaking. I believe Washagwa will come up with a party. I don't know whether he has a party yet, but he'll come up and give these people a direction. Mother Karua has already come out with what she's trying to do. Kioni is there with the saying he is the part of the Jubilee. All these 6 or 7 people there are in the ground. They are playing the game. It's good for democracy. It's very healthy. So hopefully one of them will emerge and you rise, and everybody else will support one another. I do hope that when that person emerges, even Kalonzo would be great. I know Professor Mashadi said he has been called watermelon and all that kind of stuff, but he's struggled. He's been there in the fight. So long as he also starts firm with the opposition and started fighting with the people. But I also want to bring the factor that I keep referring to that's very important. Gen Z. We're going to have a big vote with the Gen Z. And although I've named all those people and it's good they're playing out, I still suspect there might be somebody who will come up, who will receive the support of the Gen Z, a charismatic. You know, like an Obama, how Obama rose up in the USA, and people are not known, he was not a key player before, but all at once he rises. I do have a feeling that we might have somebody else who might rise up there, get the support of the Gen Z, and be a person of the people, and then also join the playing ground. The problem that has plagued our country is that instead of allowing democracy to play out, we keep on recycling the same material. Is it Karonzo? Is it Uhuru? Is it Raila? Is it Ruto? And then we end up with the same thing. So let the game be played out. Let them keep on playing out. But the sooner they resolve their differences, the better. And for my brother, for G, come up with your party, whatever that party is. We need to hear it. We need to see it, whatever it stands for. And Matiang'i, I believe he's getting the blessings of so many corners of the country. He's a very strong candidate. But there might be others coming. Let's wait and see.
Thank you so much. So it has been a wonderful discussion, deliberation from you, Professor Ndiangui, Professor Macharia. So I'll give you each 2 minutes so that you can wrap it up and then give your own perspective about the handshake between Raila Odinga and William Ruto, if it's actually going to survive till 2027 and thereafter. Go ahead. Let's start from Professor Peter Ndiangui.
Yes, thank you so much. This has been very interesting. Thank you, Engineer. Thank you, Professor Macharia. It's very nice. We've been talking about will Ruto and Raila's marriage survive to 2027. And I want to start a little bit more positive. It could if they implemented the things they talked about nicely. If they stopped those abductions, if they stopped corruption, if they stopped the overtaxing of the people, if they tried to create a better ground, if they are genuinely meant that for national unity it would be good. Unfortunately, we have lived with them for too long. We know it is just words, and these are things they should have been doing. They did not need an MOU. Yes, Laila, get your prime ministership, but let the system play out. We do believe that we still got a great country. We are going through difficult times. We got a great country, whether we are there in the country or not. I did see quite a number of people in the diaspora also getting involved. They traveled from different parts of the country, different parts of the world, from China, from Australia, from United States, from UK, from wherever. They were there. They met Retagula, they met everybody. These conversations are important. And I'm not saying whether they are good or bad. These conversations are very important for the good of our country. We are all getting involved. And it's important to have these conversations. And at the end of it all, we will get up with a better leadership. To Ruto and your government, please, have a government that cares for the people. Think about how you campaigned about Mama Boga. about the people border border. Have mercy on those people. It's not about you. These people do matter. People are suffering. Shift your focus from politics to welfare, to economic well-being of the people. They deserve it. You told us you're a man of God. Whether you are or not, that's not my point. But God, blessed are those who are merciful. Please be one of them. Thank you.
Now, let's wrap it up. Professor Macharia, give your perspective. Thank you. Go ahead.
Well, it's been an interesting discussion. I don't think the handshake will last for a long time. I think Raila will ditch Ruto before 2027 because he thinks he'll be better off without that. But these are interesting times to watch. And if they are to be advised, maybe President Ruto should be advised to listen to his advisors better than he does, or reportedly does. Or at least, if they've been advising him, then they've been misadvising him. He should look for better advisors other than some people called engineers. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Professor Ndiangui. Thank you so much, Professor Macharia, for your wonderful deliberation. And may God continue blessing you so that we can continue enlightening Kenyans. We can continue discussing. We can continue exchanging ideas so that we have a better Kenya. Thank you so much, and may God bless you.
God bless you.
Yes.
Thank
you. Okay. So.
Thank you.
Kahawa sukari.
We've had a wonderful deliberation from Professor Macharia, Professor Ndiangui. Now we wrapped it up, and then let's meet again next week. Thank you so much. May God bless you.